What I want Rolo and Michael to do, and then the ladies to weigh in, is obviously there's a lot of men watching, but a lot of these men want women. How would you define a high value woman? Are there certain benchmarks? Let's leave all the, fringe women out there. Like, depends if you're living in a fishing village in Chile. Let's pretend we're in America.
Well, there's conventional aspects.
Exactly. Let's get conventional with this. I'm not talking about passport bros moving to different countries. Let's pretend we're all staying in fucking America. And how would you define a high value woman here in America today?
First off is physicality, physical fitness, and not just as an obligation, but as something that is like sort of intrinsic to that woman. Physical fitness is number one, simply because we live in a country right now where 75% of the population is overweight. 40% of women are obese. Women who are in shape are like I can walk through the Vegas airport. I can walk through Miami airport. Just put your phone away. Look at the people around you. Those are normal people. Whenever we're doing Access Vegas, everybody complains, oh, you guys don't have normal girls on there. Walk through an airport, look at the women around you, and tell me you want to see them on the show. So number one is physicality, staying in shape, because that's something that I think that you want to save the West with more babies. Ladies, stay in shape. Guys, stay in shape too. So that's number one, the physical side of things. Also, there has to be something that is value added. So it's not just, is she sexually available? Is she hot? Is she past the boner test? Do I want to get with this chick? There has to, if you're going to form a long-term relationship in some way, there has to be something that is value added to that woman, which I think is where most women today kind of like drop the ball. They think that value addedness is to be more masculine. I have my business, I have my education, I have all these things that make them the man that they wanted to marry. Those are not the things that men who want to marry you are looking for. For the most part, heterosexual men don't want to marry other men or women who sort of behave like men. They want to be with a woman who is more naturally feminine. And I know that's really hard for a lot of people to sort of accept these days, because we have a really tough time defining what are aspects of feminine, conventional aspects, not traditional, conventional aspects of masculinity and femininity. So there's that nurturing. There's that like a lot of people say, I need a woman who's going to be my peace. Well, what does that mean? That means it's a woman who is supportive of you, who is investing, who will take the chance to bet her sexual agency when she is young on you, that you're going to end up becoming a high value man, or you're going to be a winner passing the finish line. That woman who understands and sees the sort of the God's eye view, like the forest for the trees, and says, you know what? I realize that I only have a certain window of opportunity here. I'm going to consolidate on this guy. He's got potential, and have the wisdom and the foresight to say that this guy's going somewhere. I like his personality. Just that insight. I think insight is the number one thing that women, like outside of physicality, insight. Because if a woman can say, if she thinks to herself, I should apologize for that. I should encourage him here. I should like innately, not out of obligation, but as just sort of like who she is characteristically, that has an insight to say, you know what? In other situations, I might call this guy a bum, or I might like berate him in some way. But to say, you know what? I was off base. I'm going to apologize. Sort of get over yourself. Insight is one of the rarest qualities in women right now, and simply because I think it's probably the last 2 or 3 generations that it hasn't been encouraged.
Would you call that female intuition?
Not so much. Like when I talk about intuition, it's like sort of like that the filter, the hypergamous filter. Is this guy like who he says he is? But insight is something like if a woman like wrongs you, if she in some way offends you, and she says, oh, I should apologize for that, just on her own, like no one unsolicited saying, you owe me an apology. Like if she comes to that on her own, that's insight. That's just one example of it too. Just throwing that out there. So I expect contrition from women all the time.
How often do you, like, if you're doing a business deal, or if you're going out to dinner, or you bring your wife along, but she's gonna notice maybe blind spots that you won't notice as a man. Like I'll give you an example. We just had dinner at PBD's house the other day. Mike Tyson's there, okay? Mike Tyson, Michael Francis, Chaz Palminteri. We had lunch. We're all sitting there. And Mike Tyson brings his wife. And she shows up and she's like, all right, like she's almost like guarded. You can tell that she's looking very much after Mike Tyson to make sure no one's here to take advantage. Like she has that female intuition. A lot of women, like a guy will just leave the house and be like, all right, we'll figure out what I'm doing. woman. All right, how I dress. I got my mace. Like there's women. There's things that women are going to notice. Natalia brings a lot of that same value to me. So what's the point? Is Mike Tyson's wife? All of a sudden, you saw that after end of lunch, after she learned about us, you understood what we're doing. After we just did a 2-hour podcast, you could see her be like, "All right, you're cool. You're cool." Mike goes, "Hey, grab my number, whatever." He goes, "Oh, get it from my wife." I go, "All right, cool." I go, "Hey, Mike wanted me to exchange numbers." She goes,
compliment to his life.
She goes, "Oh yeah, sure. Here's the number." But you could tell that if I just went to her at the beginning or whatever previously, I was like, "Hey, Mike wants the number." She'd be like, "Yeah, who are you?" kind of a thing. So a woman is going to bring something to the table.
So then we can argue that getting married can actually contribute to being.
We don't have to be married to.
So what I've always said is this:
argument,
is that
yes.
men and women
100%.
men and women are different. We are fundamentally, biologically, down to the microbiology of our cells are different. Okay. But the thing is like we have strengths as men that because we are masculine, women have strengths as women because they are feminine. And when you take, and you can go and look at brain scans for like how men and women like sort of relate with communication and everything. You lay those across each other, those fMRI studies, and you look at them and you put the two, a man's brain and a woman's brain together and you see how the synapses work. They almost all complement the other. Like what one lacks in one, the other one compensates for. And we are innate complements. We are evolutionary complements. You can say we were created that way or we evolved that way. It doesn't matter. We're still complements. We are better together than we are apart.
Then
and
why
so,
not get married?
so well, that's because marriage is just the formalization of that.
Right.
Okay.
So the government legalization.
Well,
almost,
yeah,
some might
but it's
say.
also like monogamy. When we have to come together as men and women to actually have a child and invest in that child, because the nature of our species is that that child is going to be completely helpless, at least for the first like 6 or 7 years of its life. So we have no other choice but to be parentally invested in that if we want the species to survive. Got it. But there are innate strengths that I have that make up for my wife's innate weaknesses and vice versa. Women who understand this have insight. Women who understand that I have these strengths that, like maybe it's Mike Tyson's wife, right? Understanding that is you want two people who are playing on the same team and playing the same game. It's like mixed doubles when you're playing tennis. Like you can't be hitting the ball at each other and win the game. You have to have people who can be in the right place at the right time. So when I talk about like how women are innate complements to men, that goes against the common idea that we are 50% masculine and 50% feminine and all this stuff. Because what happens in that scenario is you become this androgynous thing that doesn't need anything outside of itself. That I am. You've heard women say this all the time. You are enough, girl. No, you're not enough because you have weaknesses that a man's strengths can take over.
I feel like a preach, bro. I'm preach, girl. That's what I feel like right now.
And vice versa.
That's what I feel like right now.
And vice versa.
Yes.
Hold on.
And vice versa.
Not to
And
cut
the
you off.
men have weakness too, and they are
Yes.
complements.
We know that you want to go meditate, baby. I
Yeah.
hear you.